to the May meeting of the Town of Poughkeepsie Zoning Board of Appeals. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, as I said, welcome to tonight's meeting. A number of, or two of our regular members, as well as the alternate, are both absent. So there will be only 5 voting members at tonight's meeting. But that's enough both for a quorum and to transact business. For those of you that are new to the procedures of the zoning board, the meeting is divided into 2 halves. During the first half, we hold public hearings on each of the applications that are before us, and we do it in the order in which they're found on the agenda. If you would like a copy of the agenda, they're available in that little black tray that sits right there at the corner. For each of the public hearings, we'll ask the applicant to come forward to state their name for the record and then be sworn in. All testimony before the zoning board has to be sworn testimony. After being sworn in, we'll ask the applicant to briefly describe what their application is about. We obviously have copies of them and have read them, but if there's anything you wish to add, new information, please do. Then each member of the board will have an opportunity to ask questions. Once all the board members have asked their questions, the floor will be open to any member of the public that wishes to address that application, but that application only. And again, people wishing to comment must be sworn in. When we've heard from everybody, we will then close the public hearing and move on to the next item. When we've finished with the public hearings on all the agenda items, we then move into the deliberation phase of the meeting. And during this part of the meeting, there's no further input from the public, but it's an open meeting. You're obviously welcome to stay and listen to the deliberations. Okay, let's get started. Item number 1, William and Roxanne Cosma, 68 Crestwood Boulevard. So step right up.
Sure.
Yep. And when people are at the desk, we would ask that you be careful to speak into the microphone. Okay. We're recording all this, so have a seat.
Gotcha.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recuse myself on this one, but I can give him the oath.
Yep.
Do each of you swear or affirm that the testimony you provide tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
I do.
Very well.
Okay, so you want to tell us just briefly what brings you here tonight?
Okay, just trying to be legal.
He's trying to comply.
I had the addition on behind my garage, and town found out, and they says, hey, you didn't get a permit for that. So now I got a permit, and I need the variance. But I had one for my garage, and the addition, they said, well, you still need another one for that. So.
Okay. So when did you build the original garage?
85, 87.
80, and did you need a variance for that at the time?
I
You did?
yeah.
Okay, so you have the variance for...
Yeah, that's 5 foot off the property line.
Okay, all right. Okay, Christine, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, you actually answered the question that I
Yes.
had, so Larry, any
He's
questions?
trying to comply and clear up his violations and keep both the town and his wife happy.
Okay, this sounds better and better. Larry, any questions?
No questions.
Carmen?
No questions.
Okay.
It seems like the addition is a foot set in based on the
diagram, is that correct, from the view?
Actually, it's probably, we don't probably actually need a 5-foot variance. We probably need a 4-foot, a bigger, because it's.
Yes, it is set in.
It is set in. It's smaller than the garage.
How far is it set in? Do you know exactly? It didn't look like a foot, maybe
Yeah.
Maybe 8 inches.
8, 9
Yeah.
inches,
Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
something like that. So, it seems to me just
It's no bigger than the garage. It
Call
is
it-
no wider, it's
call
actually
it
smaller than the
5
garage.
feet, because that's what
Yes.
that's the
Yeah.
distance of
Yes.
the garage.
Yes.
Right, so.
Right. Okay. All right, any other questions from the board? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application at 68 Crestwood Boulevard? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And there's one recusal. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Items number 3, Katie Castell, 17 Nassau Road.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Have a seat and just state your name into the microphone for the record.
Katie L. Castell.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you provide tonight will be true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Okay, technically speaking, you've got 2 applications, one for a special use permit for home occupation, and the second for some variances that have to do with the requirements for the special permit. We will hold the public hearing on both of them at the same time, so we don't have to repeat a lot of stuff. But when it comes time to actually voting on these, we'll have to consider the variances first and then the special use permit. Okay, so enough procedure. What are you proposing to do?
Actually, what I'm proposing to do, I'm an LCSWR, and I've worked over 25 years with child and adolescents at the Astor Home for Children. And for the downstairs part of my home I bought 7 years ago, I'd like to refinish and open a private practice would be, so I've pretty much resolved 3 since I'm learning a lot. So I won't be open past 7. And I went to the zoning board and was able to get a better diagram of the square footage so that I'm at 15, because going over meant a lot more for handicapped and fire inspection, and I don't, just need to use that one office.
Okay.
And then the other piece would be within the 15% just for a waiting area. So it's for individual therapy. There'd be no more than one person, or maybe a person that drove the person there to receive the services, and there's going to be no change to the structure, no off-street parking, and I understand the sign is 2x2.
Okay, so you distributed essentially a new diagram of your of the way the office is going to work, and so it's going to be on the lower floor.
Through the garage and through the laundry room downstairs door, it has a separate entrance. There is already a large room, what was said a bedroom, and then a bath. So I'm proposing to use that small room as the office to see children and families, and then outside not using the entire space so as not to go over the 25 or over the 15%, just for a seated area for people that may be waiting for their loved one.
Okay, all right. So, if the actual size of the home occupation is going to be 250 square feet, no, wait a minute.
When I was doing my own diagram with the measuring of it, I thought I had more square footage than the town had recorded. So that's what had happened. So I went back to the zoning department and they gave me the proper specs.
Okay,
And then but the packet had already been submitted.
okay,
So
Okay.
they just asked that I use their diagram that they had and then to show you where within the downstairs area I would be using.
Okay. And but I just want to make clear, the upshot is that you're going to have 250 square feet of home occupation area, and that represents 15% of the entire residence.
Correct.
Okay. So that means it meets the requirement in the town code of no more than 25%. So you don't need a variance for that. Okay. And then the second issue had to do with the time that you're going to be seeing clients or patients. And the code says that home occupations can't go beyond 7 p.m. And you, in the application, you said you wanted to be open until 8.
Again, I'm learning.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, that would be nice for adolescents because I don't want to interrupt their school days to have a service offered in the evening. But if that's, I don't know, I've never done this before, so I don't know if an hour makes, the judgment a no.
Okay. Well, all right. So all things being equal, you would like to be able to see people in the early evening.
It would be ideal
Okay.
for the families that may seek services,
Okay.
but I don't want it to be a barrier to being able to offer it.
Okay. Well, you've made the application, and if we approve it, if we approve a variance and you can stay open till 8, fine. If the board doesn't approve it, then you'll have to end at 7. So we might as well go ahead with. So essentially,
We'll go ahead with that one.
we'll go ahead and look at this variance, but the other one is now essentially you're withdrawing the application for that variance. Fine.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Sorry about this, but
No,
but our attorney here has to keep me honest, and there's a procedure we have to just make it real clear here. Okay.
this is easier than family court, by the way, when I testify, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll take that as a compliment. I don't know whether it is or not, but
It's not much of a compliment.
okay. Fair enough. Okay. So on both the application for the variance for the time of operation and for the special use permit. So, Christine, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Paul?
Just to confirm, will you have any employees?
No,
And will you be doing group sessions?
no.
No family sessions?
Well, possibly 2, but they'd be in one car. I mean, I could do family, yes, because I'm seeing child and adolescents. So that's
Okay.
my specialty, with the
All right.
family.
That's all.
Any of the consultation will be off the property.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you've answered mine. Larry?
What time do the hours begin?
I am currently looking for a school social work position, so they could start as early as 4 with that. But in my present employment, they'd probably start about 5:30.
Okay.
It would vary because, it would depend on the schedule, but it wouldn't be any earlier than 3. It would be after school hours.
Okay, let me just follow up on that. So most of the clients that you would have would be in school?
Correct.
Okay, so you probably could, like you said, you couldn't start before 4, probably. Okay.
Ideally.
So you really kind of need the extra hour from 7 to 8 because you can't start any earlier.
It would be the ideal situation for me. Either that or I do more evenings. See if I could have a longer stretch of time that I could open it up 2 evenings a week and see 3 people. If not, does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I wasn't aware from the Okay,
It would be children.
it would be children, and so the school hours are important, so you have to work around that.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. It actually comes from being involved in the Pathways to Promises and the public forums. Many of the parents were saying that it was very inconvenient to take their children out of school for therapy, and I knew that, it's something that I specialize in, so I wanted to offer it.
Okay. So Larry, did you have anything else? Carmen?
Yes, how long does each counseling session last?
45 minutes.
It's for 45 minutes. So you could see, and it would start possibly at 3 and then until 8. You could see at least a couple
Oh, yes. Yes,
different parties, okay?
absolutely. Yes, that's my intention would be to do that.
Yeah, okay. And parking's not an issue there, no?
No,
Okay.
I'm the sole resident, so, there's plenty of parking. My driveway is
Right.
quite large.
Yeah.
So even if I've had family members over, we've never been off street.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
No, it's a large driveway.
It is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, is there anyone from the audience that wishes to address the application at 17 Nassau Road? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, that was items 2 and 3. Item number 4, Stewart Shops Freezer Edition. The Stewart Shops at 1200 Dutchess Turnpike.
Mr. Chair, nobody is appearing for that. They've asked to be adjourned until next month, and the same for item 5.
Okay.
Okay,
So on items 4 and 5, is there anyone in the audience that was here to address either of the Stewart Shops applications? Okay, 1200 Dutchess Turnpike and 85 Creek Road. Okay. So in that case, I move that item number 4 and item number 5 be adjourned to our June 11th meeting.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? All right, okay, so those two are adjourned. Item number 6, Raymore and Flanagan, 757 Vassar Road. Okay, good evening, gentlemen, and if you would each state your name.
Adam Wazaleski.
Christopher Lloyd.
Okay,
You swear or affirm the testimony you provide tonight will be true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Yes.
Very well.
okay, and it sort of in what capacities are you here?
I'm the director of real estate in our real estate group.
Okay,
And I'm a real estate analyst for Raymore and Flanagan.
okay, great. Now, at the outset, I need to give you the bad news, and that's that we cannot decide tonight on this, but we can have the public hearing, we can talk about it. It's a requirement that applications that fall into certain categories, in this case it's on a major highway, have to be reviewed by the county. They have to make a recommendation. They have 30 days to do it. Their clock is still ticking, and we haven't gotten their comments. So we can thoroughly discuss it, but we can't decide until next month. And the best way to do this is just to adjourn the public hearing, so that if something new develops, based on what the county has recommended, and we'll share that with you. The public hearing will still be open. We can continue to talk about it, but we won't have to go back to square one.
Understood.
So, just
No, thank you.
I apologize for the delay that this has caused, but it's nothing that we have no interest. Okay, so, enough procedure. Can you want to tell us about what your plans are?
Yeah, so the subject property, as you know, is located near the intersection of Vassar Road and Route 9, one of the most heavily trafficked areas in the area. What we're seeking is a...
Yeah, okay.
Pardon?
Yeah, there was something with your microphone, just, something was brushing against it, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
No, it's all right. What we're seeking is an area variance for a modification to our existing signage. This was a Raymore and Flanagan Clearance Center with red channel letter signage on the front of the building and on the west side. Basically, we're just seeking to reface that channel letter signage with the color purple and changing out the word furniture for the word outlet. Basically reducing the total square footage of the signage minimally, but we believe we still need that signage for visibility from Route 9 for motorists to be able to actively and safely cross into our parking lot. And we also believe that we need the purple coloring to be consistent with our outlet concept in our portfolio.
Okay. Right, so in effect, you're asking for a variance to allow two wall signs.
Correct.
One of 419.53 square feet, the other 158 square feet. And according to the code, there can be one wall sign for each side of the building that faces a public road. And in this case, I believe the lot is vacant and it's owned,
That's
owned by
correct.
DOT.
Correct, on the corner,
Yes.
yes.
So you're effectively facing both.
Facing Route 9 and Vassar.
Route 9 and Vassar Road, okay. So the main issue is the size of the sign, and the code says it can only, each of those two signs could only be 100 square feet. Okay, so that's the issue. Christine, any questions?
So the sign that faces Vassar Road is going to be a little bit smaller than the existing sign.
Correct, and that's due to the change in the word furniture to outlet.
And does the same hold true for the sign?
That's correct.
Okay. That's all.
Okay. Paul?
No questions.
Okay. I guess I question the need for the size of the sign that's facing Vassar Road. I can see an argument for the other sign, the one facing Route 9. That's roughly 159 square feet, as opposed to the 100 is required by code. But why do you need a sign that's 4 times the code requirement facing Vassar Road?
Yeah, the building, with it only being one story, being sort of lower, it's really topography related more than anything, with motorists traveling from the south there. And being able to view that before making that left onto Vassar. That's the main reason for the need for the larger signage on the front of the building.
If I could just add to that,
sure.
There's also the concrete island in Vassar Road that prevents a left turn at the second driveway entrance, essentially. So motorists would have to identify the building before reaching the building. There's a first driveway at the corner of the lot, and that's the only place they can make a left turn.
Okay. When I was out there, standing in front of the building and looking I guess, sort of north, in the direction of Route 9. Part of the problem is that the view from Route 9 is blocked by, I guess there's your main building, the Raymore and Flanagan building. There's a karate studio, and then there's a Burger King. So that the first opportunity somebody would have to really see that sign is as they're getting by Burger King. Okay, and so this is what suggests to me that it doesn't have to be that big. It has to be clear. I mean, and I take your point about it being the topography. It is down a little bit, but the current sign is so large. It's almost as if it's meant to be read, a quarter mile away, and that's just not what's happening at that intersection.
Understood. That's a valid point. I mean, that signage has been in place since we've been in this building since the early 2000s. Given the windows, the height of the windows in that building that we took over back then, leaves us a minimal thread to have signage on, which was the reason for the channel lettering. And we weren't able to dig up, and I don't believe the town was either on. There was ever a variance granted on this in the past, or if that was, the square footage was allowed.
Yeah.
But, given that, again, that area and that band above the windows, that was the reason for the square footage of the current signage.
Okay. Given that building and given the name of the company, I mean, it would be nice if it were just Acme Furniture and much shorter. But a sign that conformed to the code of 100 square feet would, quite frankly, look, I think, silly. But is there something in between?
We did bring in Chris. Me and Chris could pass out because we did see the staff's comments and we appreciate those. We had a signage. It'd be 100. It's a box sign, 150 square feet on the west side, and then 150 square feet. So just above code.
Thank you.
We feel like would be a good compromise. And something that would keep us, like I said, with the purple signage, that's sort of our outlet color scheme throughout our portfolio, and hopefully keep them within the character of the town's looking for.
Yeah, okay. All right.
These are all backlit LEDs. Unfortunately, our signage company representative wasn't able to attend tonight, but if you need some more technical details, Chris and I had some notes on that as well. But backlit white LED box sign, aluminum case.
Okay, and both of these are 150 square feet?
Correct, both the same size, right.
Christine?
I think they're easier to read, frankly. Looking at the pictures from the road, from, entering into Vassar Road, they both just seem easier to my eye to read.
Okay. Paul, do you have any?
No. I thank you for this.
Okay. Larry, any questions, comments?
No questions.
Carmen?
Okay, tell me again.
Okay, now you need the microphone back.
Tell me again, the size of the sign facing Vassar Road.
In the package we just handed out,
Right,
that's 150 square feet
okay.
on the front of the building.
Do you consider a monument sign freestanding?
Freestanding?
We have, correct us if we're wrong, but according to our interpretation of the code, we'd be allowed two 50-square-foot signs, one at each entrance driveway. And unfortunately, based on the size,
Excuse me.
God bless you, based on the size and location, based on the size of the signs that would be allowed and the location of the entrances, we don't feel that provides the visibility from Route 9. And unfortunately, we don't, as Mr. Chally noted, have the land adjacent to Route 9 to be able to put some sort of freestanding sign there.
Yeah. Having the island there does complicate things, too.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I must say, and I'll just second what Christine said, is that I find this new proposal very readable. I mean, it's clear. Because when we were out there on the field trip, we actually came from Route 9D and came up to that intersection. And while we were waiting for the traffic light to go across to Vassar Road, a couple of us just said, that's the existing sign is not real easy to read. And then when we got into the lot, we looked across at your main building, and people said, "Wow, that's a nice, clear, easy to read sign." And I think you've captured some of that here. So.
That feedback is helpful to us as well, so thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I find this proposal very, very attractive, and so I guess unless there are any other questions from board members, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the Raymore and Flanagan application? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Robert Seeger. I live parking lot from your store.
Yeah, you'll have to come up and.
Bob Seeger. I live right. My name is Bob Seeger. I live directly across the parking lot from their store.
You'll have to be sworn in.
Sure. Okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you provide tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
Very well.
Okay, sorry for all the formalities, but go ahead.
Well, I live directly across the parking lot from their store, and I would just want to be sure that they're not going to put any more signs on the Vassar Road side of the building, because as is now, their current lights go out until 12 o'clock at night, so I have a light shining in my bedroom until 12 o'clock at night.
Okay, all right. There is a provision in our code that says any establishment that is not open for business, at 11 o'clock at night, there has to be, the lights have to be turned off for signs.
Well, these are not signs, this is the parking lot lights that lights on all night.
Okay.
I really can't see the front of the building from my house. The parking lot lights are on
It's
till
the
12 o'clock
parking
at
lot
night.
lights, okay. Okay, we can check into that. Was that the building department?
I think zoning takes care of.
We could speak after the meeting.
Okay.
Speak with Chris
Okay.
After the meeting. That's our department.
Pardon?
Oh,
The
okay.
zoning department, we'll speak with.
Okay.
Okay, we'll add that to the considerations.
much.
Okay, thank you.
Do you mind, could you just get your address, just so we know which side, just exactly? Mr. Seeger?
Where do you live?
749 Vassar Road.
Thanks.
749
Okay.
Vassar Road.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so if there's no one else in the audience that wishes to address the Raymore and Flanagan? Okay, I see none. So we'll now adjourn the public hearing and await the county comments. And
Mr.
then-
Chair, I think it would be helpful if we sent these revised plans to the county because it will change their comments. And therefore, since we now have the time, we may avoid a denial request from the county.
Okay, good idea.
And when I get a county response, yeah,
Okay.
like I said, I would send that to you.
Would electronic copies be the best way to go about that?
Well, can I have one, if I can have one of these extra, I can mail it to them
Oh,
tomorrow.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we have a new version of the sign to consider between now and the next meeting. Okay, I move that item number 6, Raymore and Flanagan, 757 Vassar Road, be adjourned to our June 11th meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next month. All right. Item number 7, Ashley Furniture Home Store at 1895 South Road.
Hi.
Good evening. So if each of you would just state your names and be sworn in.
Crystal Chukanowski. Carly Galterio.
Do you each swear or affirm the testimony you'll provide tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
I do. I do.
Okay. And could you just tell us in what capacity you're representing the Ashley Furniture?
We're here as the sign installers and fabricators. So we're here on behalf of Ashley Home Store Furniture, located at 1895 South Road and in Poughkeepsie. So we are here for the proposed signage for the outlet store as well as the home store location. So currently existing is the home store, and they have acquired the addition of an additional lot space. It's space number 90. That's where the outlet will be, where the current location is. Will be switched to the outlet, and the home store will be moved over to that second lot that they've acquired, which is space 112. We're seeking the approval for the outlet location, 170 square foot signage. It's a channel letter sign, and that would be on the east elevation of the building to face South Road. We are also seeking for the home store location on the main wall facing South Road on the east elevation. A Ashley Home Store sign, channel letters, at 150 square foot, as well as an additional sign on the south elevation to face the south parking lot where the Kmart was and Hobby Lobby, that parking lot area to face that, and that would also be 150 square foot. And the other signage we're seeking approval for is a sleep shop sign. It's a channel letter sign, black channel letters that would also face South Road on the east elevation. And finally, we're seeking the approval for 2 additional logos to go on the towers, which are kind of the corner pieces of the building since it is on a corner lot. I do have a map here in case, I'm sure you guys have been to the location, but if you wanted to get a clear picture of what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so again, right at the outset, I need to tell you that unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make a decision tonight because the county also has to have the opportunity to make a recommendation, and we haven't gotten that.
Understood.
So, again, my apology for the delay, but that's the way it is. Okay. Lisa, the application that I read over was only for the home store and not for the outlet. Yes. So how do we want to deal with that?
Since we're not making any decisions tonight, the public hearing was advertised for, just the one, so, right?
Yes, it's just the one sign we didn't.
Both applications were submitted at the same time, and I guess the office had made a mistake and didn't put both of them together into the...
Yeah, so the outlet sign that you're referring to, unfortunately, it sounds like did not make it into the advertised signage. So it does sound like regardless, we will have to come back for the next hearing based on waiting for the county. So I guess that could be addressed then.
I mean, we would like the opportunity to address it now if you'll allow us, just so that we can...
Certainly we can discuss it, but I'm just concerned that
We had an application and it didn't get distributed for both?
or I don't think, or
It's
did,
all the right signage. It's the one sign that they're proposing for 170 was not advertised.
But
But it
the application was all
it was in
submitted
the
together.
application.
Yeah.
It just-
Correct.
yeah, because as I understand it, there are going to be two stores.
Correct.
And are they physically, they're next to each other, but are they internally?
Separate entities. So internally, each will have separate registers, and it's almost as a Marshalls and Home Goods sort of situation where they have separate. The outlet store is a location where most of the items that are sold at a lower rate based on they were last season or because they were out on the floor. So those pieces get moved into the outlet location and are sold there. So it is two separate entities.
Okay.
Are they connected inside? I'm sorry, I was is it?
They're not connected.
I do not believe so.
They're not connected. They're
So
two completely separate stores, separate entrances, separate registers, everything.
So if you're in one, you've got to go outside to go into the other.
Correct.
Okay.
I think we should then have a second application and treat it as two different, I mean, it's fine that you're both here and representing for both, but.
They were both filed as separate applications.
Well, we have only one form. Were there a second form filed?
Okay. I see what you're saying. So I was not aware of that. We should file, I guess, separately for it. So only one application was submitted for variance. Separate applications were submitted for each sign.
When you say separate applications, you mean we have pictures of what
The
you're looking for each sign?
original physical application, like sign permit applications. So not by variance.
Okay, but I think they should fill out a second application.
Right, and it would be helpful to have a
titled
packet.
Ashley Furniture Outlet.
Right.
Okay, we can absolutely do that for you.
So as if it were absolutely two very different.
Because each store is entitled to its own signage by right, and by combining them, you're actually not helping yourself in terms of what's allowed on the site. So if we can split it out and look at them separately, and then we'll leave it up to you to decide which one the corner post, if one goes with.
The other consideration you might think about is that the existing sign that's there now is Ashley, I guess, just Ashley Furniture. Okay. That was granted a variance. When, what was it, a couple of years ago?
I think 11 possibly?
12.
Yeah.
2012, for 144 square feet. Okay, so you have a variance up to 144. So instead of looking for another variance for 170 square feet, if you reduced the sign for the outlet store so that it was 144 square feet or less, you can just go ahead and do it. You already have the variance. You don't have to go through the application.
Okay, so we wouldn't have to, for that one, they would approve the sign permit if it was 144 square feet then?
Right, because you have from 2012 a variance and you can use it. That might be the easiest way to go, actually.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
We changed the method that we determine the square footage. They've used here just our old method of determining by just the largest rectangle around the sign. My recollection was that we somehow changed the interpretation.
I think there was a question about whether we should do that. what they are doing is what we have traditionally done.
Right, but I think recently there was the zoning administrator may have changed that.
Well, then we can ask the zoning administrator to,
He looked at it.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
This is how she.
yeah, in her denial letter, she uses the
Right, but
box method.
Okay.
I don't know, do we want to send it back to her and ask her to have another look?
It was my recollection that she had changed the method that we calculated, and I don't know whether she just looked at a request for 150 square feet and denied it based upon that, or looked at the application and came to the conclusion that it was 150 square feet.
Yeah. The case you're referring to was a somewhat unusual sign.
That's true.
But.
The name of which I don't recall, but.
And in fact, it had to do with a sign that was in fact never put up. So it's a little, that case is a little odd.
Okay.
Okay, so my sense is we should just go with what we've got here.
All right.
But I'm open to suggestions, but okay. So on the outlet sign, you got a couple choices, and it's up to you. You can.
Okay, so if we reduce it to 144 square feet, we don't have to come back for a variance. We can use the existing and change the sign with the approval of the building department.
Yeah.
But if we want to try to fight for the 170 square foot, which is larger than what is there, but these are also channel letters now rather than the house logo, which was an odd shape.
Right. Yeah,
you have to come back.
You'll have to come back, but come in with an application.
Got it.
Okay.
And whichever route you decide to go, just let Sandy know and she'll work with you to make sure that we make it happen. Yeah. Okay. So for tonight, we're really just talking about the home store.
Okay.
Okay. So on that, Christine?
So on the home store, you're looking for 5 signs?
Correct.
Okay. And we were noticing that in the rest of the plaza, there are no signs on the sides of the other buildings. There's just a sign on the front.
Right, which a lot of those spaces are vacant, and that side elevation faces the parking lot, which I feel that if we have a sign on that elevation of the building, as traffic is moving through the shopping center, they'll know that the Ashley Home Furniture store is there. There is parking on that side, so it would help with visibility and keeping traffic flowing through the shopping center rather than people trying to figure out where they are, because the side of that building, their space is so large that entire wall is theirs. So with no signage there, shoppers may be confused as they're driving through trying to find the Ashley Home store when they're coming from the side of the shopping plaza.
Okay.
And to refer to that, the parking lot she's referencing is in this location on the southmost edge of the building. So if you pull in through here, there's to come in through to this parking lot. The area that your eye's directed to is right here. So the customer would like to try to have a sign there to direct business to their location.
And also because the shopping center loops around, there's a road around the whole building, you can actually enter through this here, and there would be, you would be able to see the sign as you're making the bend to come around the corner. Okay. So, from multiple angles, to keep traffic flowing, I believe that would help in their shopping plaza.
Thank you.
Paul?
The sleep shop is that separate and apart from the home store?
They have a dedicated space in the store, which is how many?
It's 5,000 square foot of dedicated space within their lot. That's dedicated to mattresses and sleeping needs.
But you still make your entrance to the home store?
Say again?
You still make the entrance to the home store?
Correct.
Correct.
You have a dedicated space, and not every Ashley home store has that. So it is important to have the sleep shop so that shoppers know that they can go to that Ashley home store for the sleeping center as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I too am concerned about the number of signs. And in the past, we have never allowed this many signs, and or of the the smaller signs, the sleep shop kind of things, and I would be very hesitant to make an exception here, because I really don't understand what would be different about the Ashley furniture as opposed to, say, the Hobby Lobby, which is another very large store, or any of the others, even the ones on the corners. My recollection is that the only case in which we've had two wall signs was in fact the Kmart, and there it was because the sign that would have faced Route 9 was a long way from where you actually went into the store. So, normally you see the sign, you walk to the sign, and you expect to be able to enter the store there. And in case in fact, that's exactly what you're proposing. So that was so this very unusual architecture really was the only case where we had two signs.
Right.
And the other thing that I would tell you is that what some of these other stores do is, instead of having a wall sign, they will have something in the windows.
Okay, so would they be allowed to have perforated vinyl to cover the entire window, or do you have a certain square footage you allow for that?
25 square feet?
Yeah.
25%.
Yeah,
25%
the 25% of the window can be devoted to signage. And the third thing that troubles me are the number of logos. The little house. I mean, if we approved your application, there would be 5 of them. 2 on one wall, 3 on the other, counting the outlet. And, I mean, even McDonald's only has one set of golden arches, but that 5 logos seems...
Right, obviously they're trying to promote their branding, so they want as much visibility and signage as they can have.
Yeah.
The more important thing is the sleep shop. Much like ShopRite has the pharmacy sign, the sleep shop is a dedicated space for that within the store, and it's a large store. So that visibility with having that there so that clients, going into Bob's also know that Ashley Home Store has the sleep center there. So.
Okay. Well, since we can't act tonight, we're going to keep the public hearing open. I would ask you to consider if there are some alternatives using the windows to these big wall signs. But that's my point of view. Okay, Larry, any questions, comments?
Is it that other Ashley stores don't have any sleep shop at all, or just not as big as this one?
Well, they don't have all the dedicated center as big as this one. I don't know if that's a normal for Ashley. Sorry, Glenn is here from Ashley. Do the other centers all have sleep items there, or is it just specifically the sleep shop that has? Okay, yeah, right. So not all of them have sleep shops.
Okay, Carmen?
Yes, as far as the signs on what I call the side of the building, not the front. You have the sign, and then you have the logo.
Right, because of obviously the branding, but.
Would you be willing to dispense with one of those?
Yeah, like if we got rid of the logos, they would like to have Ashley Home Store, if on the corner, if they took those off the tower, that will get us approved, then, they would
I'm not
consider
really
that.
convinced that you really need that side of the building sign. I heard your explanation or rationale for it, but I'm just not sure because there's a lot of signage there. There's a lot of building there.
Right. I mean, that whole wall is blank, which if they don't have anything, right now there's obviously the whole space is vacant, but once they move in there, it helps to know that that's part of the Ashley Home Store. So even if they just had Ashley Home Store on that side, without having the logo on the tower, as people are shopping at the other stores in that area too, because that side of the building faces other shops.
Right.
So it would make it uniform with the area. It wouldn't detract from it.
Well, we can't make the decision tonight, but on that side, I would not want the logo and the lettering.
So what would you guys propose as a considerable option for that side wall?
Well, according to the code, there's no sign on the side wall, just on the front. And
There's separate stores, right? Is that what we?
No, we're not dealing with the outlet store right now. We're only dealing with the main store. So you're proposing two Ashley stores, two signs for the main store, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So the outlets, what you have in front of you, Paul, there would be an additional sign for the outlet.
Right, so that specific space takes up it's on a corner lot. So it has one wall facing south and then the other facing east.
Right, yeah. And they're proposing a large 150 square foot wall sign for each of those. And the code says only one. And in terms of the consistency of our decisions on the other stores there, it would be just the one sign on the east, facing east. But that's the reason that I raised the issue about making use of windows, which, that's a pretty small parking area. I don't know what it's not very far, and something in the window would be visible from the parking area that's tucked in among the buildings.
Well, even approaching, like if you're driving around the building, approaching from that south, you can't really see the front of the building because the parking lot is large. There is other building space in that same lot.
Right.
It is hard to see the front of the store. So if you had one facing towards where the entrance is on that side of the parking lot, it would.
But what I'm suggesting, something in the windows.
Right.
Would alert people in that little, in the kind of, let me call it the interior parking area, that this is an Ashley store. And there's as long as it's less than 25% of the window area, you can put in Ashley furniture, you can put in logo, you can put in sleep shop, you can whatever. And I would just ask that you think about that, and we can talk some more about the next meeting. I mean, if you're, if you can show us that that's just not going to work, okay, then we can think about the original proposal or some version of it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see, is there anyone from the audience that wishes to address the application Ashley Furniture? Okay, seeing none. Anything else from the board?
Do we have the EAFs for these? Did we received them? Okay, thank you.
The environmental? Yeah, okay, very good. Okay, otherwise, I move that application item number 7 be adjourned to June 11th.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay, again, I'm sorry about the delay, but I think it'll work out.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for your
okay.
time.
All right, that brings us to the end of the agenda, so let's go back. I think we can just go right directly into the deliberations. I guess the Cosmas have left, so let's start with item number 3. Well, I think, do we have to do the variance first, then we can do the special permit? Okay, all right. So, okay, for item number 3, this is a, okay, and because the application has been, actually it's been changed to require less variance, so we don't need a variance for the size of the occupied area. So item number 3 now is modified to be a variance to allow a home occupation to operate until 8 p.m. where 7 p.m. is specified in the code. Okay. This is a type 2 action, so we don't have to do any environmental review. Okay, discussion? We're essentially...
There was discussion about the 8 p.m. Being a little late, but she is serving families and probably the parents that have to work and to get there. So it really makes a lot of sense to me that it could be until 8 o'clock. And that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the impact on the environment is kind of minimal. She's only going to have one car or family or person there from 7 to 8. I don't see how that has any real impact.
Right.
Up to, the difference with 7 and 8 p.m. So I don't see any problem there.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, so, let's see. Where's my sheet go? Okay. Okay, I move that the board adopt as findings for the variance request on item number 3 as follows. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties, the board finds that extending the hour of operation from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Will not be an undesirable change. The impact will be minimal, at most perhaps an extra car parked in the garage, or parked out in front, and perhaps lights on in a room that might otherwise be dark, but these are very, very minimal. 2, whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method. The board finds that because of the particular clientele that's being served is available only after school, that extending the hours of service and by an extra hour into the evening will actually be of benefit to the applicant and to her clients. and that this is something that could not be done by any other method. 3, whether the requested area variance is substantial, the board finds that this is a insubstantial change that will have no impact on anyone. 4, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. The board finds that this additional hour will have no more impact than the normal comings and goings in a residential neighborhood. And 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. It's self-created in the sense that this is something the applicant proposes to do, but this doesn't preclude the granting of a variance. So I move that we adopt those as our findings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? All right, Christine, do you want to make the motion on number 3?
Right. I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 3. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, and results of site visits by board members. In approving this variance, the board adopts the findings as set forth by the chair. So moved.
Second. Okay. The variance in item number 3 has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Wait, and there's one, no recusals. Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
5-0, right?
5-0, approved
Okay.
5-0. Okay, that brings us to item number 2, which is a special use permit to establish a home occupation in a single-family residence. This is an unlisted action, so I move that the ZBA declare itself lead agency for the purposes of the environmental review at 17 Nassau Road.
Find that an uncoordinated review is appropriate.
Uncoordinated review. Okay. With that amendment, I so move. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. I further move that the ZBA finds, based on the short environmental assessment form submitted by the applicant, that the action proposed in item number 2 will have no significant impact on the environment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Okay. On the special use permit, you got, as part of your packet, a staff report. Thank you, Mike. That goes through the criteria for a special use permit. And I believe with, I guess, the clarification on employees and the reduction in terms of the square footage, I believe that all of the criteria are met. Okay. So, does anyone have a problem with this? Okay. All right. If not, Paul, do you want to?
Sure. I move to approve the request for a special use permit set forth in item number 2. Decision is based upon a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony gathered during the public hearing, results of site visits by board members, and that it meets the criteria set forth in the town code pursuant to the staff report.
Okay. Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the special use permit in item number 2. Is there no further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Approved 5-0. Okay. And the best of luck to you.
Yes.
Okay, that takes us, let's see, item number 1. William and Roxanne Cosma, 68 Crestwood Boulevard, It's a variance to allow an existing extension to a garage to be located 5 feet from the side lot line where 10 feet is required. And this is a type 2 action, so there's no environmental review. Paul, you're recusing yourself
Correct.
from this one, so anyone else have anything to discuss? I think it's pretty straightforward. Okay. Okay, on this one, I move that the board adopt as findings the answers to the questions in the application. With the addition of a statement for item number 5, that the board finds that the difficulty is self-created because the applicant built the addition to the garage, but notes that this does not preclude the granting of the variance. Okay, so I move those as the findings.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right. So I guess it's to me. Okay, I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 1. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, and the result of site visits by board members. In approving this variance, the board adopts as findings those that were just approved. So move.
Second.
Okay, there's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And there's one recusal, so item number 1 is approved 4-0.
4-0, okay.
All right, and items 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all adjourned to next week, or next month. Yeah, sorry. So we may have a lengthy meeting. We'll have to see. Okay, since that's the end of our business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay, we stand adjourned.
Okay.